Hey folks, Crazy Climber 80 here again, and this time we're going to look at game number 19 in our 20 from the Intellivision series. This was a game created in 1982 by Mattel, and it was intended for the Intellivoice Module. The Intellivoice Module allowed for speech synthesis in 5 games. Those 5 games were B-17 Bomber, Space Spartans, Bomb Squad, TRON Solar Sailer, and World Series Major League Baseball. And this is B-17 Bomber. This was created in 1982 by Mattel Electronics, John P. Sohl, William C. Fisher, and Stephen Roney. And again, it was an Intellivoice game, which means you had some, for its time, very cool voice synthesis samples. And in this game, it is set near the end of World War II, and you fly across the English Channel and bomb targets. Now, in order to play this game good and proper, you're going to need to use just about every single button that's available. That's the 12-button keypad and the dial controller and the 4 side buttons. Now, let's look at the overlay here. Button number 1 is the pilot button. Then we'll look into what these do a little bit later on. Button number 2 is your 12 o'clock gun. Button number 3 is your bomb bay. Button number 4 is your gauge. Button number 6 is the preview button. Button number 7 is your 9 o'clock gun. Button number 9 is your 3 o'clock gun. The clear button is your map. The 0 button is your 6 o'clock gun, and the enter button is your score. As for the side buttons, the left side button lets you fly faster, the bottom left button. The top left button is for bomb, and FR, I'm trying to remember what that stands for. We'll look at that later. And target. And the bottom right button is to fly slower. Now, with every controller, with every game, your top left and your top right buttons have the same function, as far as I know. But let's get started.
Mattel Electronics presents B-17 Bomber.
Well, the title screen says 1981, but it was actually released in 1982. But this game is incredibly complex. It's a bit much for me, but history buffs might enjoy it, or flight simulator fans might enjoy it. But there are several different things you have to do in this game, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at these things that you have to do step by step. So to start things off, you'll see the map screen, and you can access the map by pressing the clear button. And you will see enemy plane icons. You will also see target icons, and those will be like the smoking factory type of symbols. And what you want to do is select a destination with targets. And then after that, you want to stock your plane with bombs and fuel, and you can do that at the bottom. This is your gauges screen, and you select that with button 4. And then while you're on the gauges screen, you'll want to take off. You will use the disc to set pitch and roll to 0. You keep pressing the fly faster button, which is the bottom left side button. and you keep doing that until you're at 2,500 RPMs. And as your plane will pass 90 miles per hour, you will press downwards to start your climb, and you can adjust your pitch to increase the altitude while maintaining airspeed. And at 500 feet, the bomb bay door will open, and you'll be able to bomb ground target. Now, once you're at the desired RPM and altitude, you will be able to see the pilot's viewpoint. You'll see the horizon, and you might be able to see enemy planes, and there will be a voice sample to tell you which direction the plane is at, the enemy plane. And you can press 2, 9, 0, or 7 for your 12 o'clock gun, your 3 o'clock gun, your 6 o'clock gun, and your 9 o'clock gun, respectively. And if you let the enemy shoot you, there will be a burst of 3 shots going across the screen, and you will not be able to use that gun again unless you return back to England and refuel and get yourself some more bombs. And speaking of bombs, when you press the button 3, then you will be able to see the ground below you, and you can look for targets to bomb. And one of them is that Tetris type of piece. And there will also be, I think, like 2 black dots together. Those will be targets as well. But they're not gonna just let you bomb them. They will shoot flak upwards at you. And if you're high enough, I think that the flak can miss you. If you get hit by flak, then your bomb sight may be disabled. But yeah, you want to bomb those targets. And there's a button, I think button number 6 is a preview button. That will let you see what the point value is for those ground targets. And your goal in this game is to just bomb as many ground targets as you can to get a high score, and then go back to England when your fuel is low or your bomb supply is low, and refuel and rebomb, and then do it all again. Now, I will not do a complete playthrough, but we will look at the important parts of the game, at least. And here's where you start out, Europe 1943. And again, you will move the cursor over to your desired target, hopefully a factory or whatever, the black icon there. And while you're here, you will see that plus start to move. That is your plane. It will start to move towards the desired location. And while that's happening, go to the gauges screen and start changing your RPMs, and your miles per hour will start to rise. And again, you want to set your RPMs to 2,500. If it's not nearly at that point, or if it's too high or something, you can crash even before you start your mission and die. But as you pass 90 miles per hour, press down and hold it to start your climb. You can adjust your pitch to increase your altitude while maintaining airspeed. At 500 feet, the bomb bay door will open, and we're scooting forward, and we're seeing the enemy planes. You can check your different o'clocks, the guns, to take on the enemy and fire with the action buttons, the top action buttons. And the voice will tell you when you have an enemy at whichever o'clock, and you switch over, and you can hold down the fire button and fire a burst of shots. And that number at the top right shows how much fire you have left. When you run low on fire, you'll probably want to go back to England and touch down and get that restored. Oops. There, I fired a bomb at no target in particular. But you can switch between the bomb bay view, and the bomb bay view is number 3. You can switch between that and, oh, oops, I got the 3 shots in. So that means I cannot fire through that o'clock. But yeah, your general goal in this game, after you've successfully taken off and reached your destination, is to switch between your bomb bay and look for the ground targets to bomb, and then when the voice prompts you, to go back to whichever o'clock gun to destroy an enemy, and then go back to bombing targets when it's safe. And then once your fuel or ammunition is low or bombs are empty, then fly back to England and do it all over again. Now I'm going to successfully bomb a target. They will say target in sight. The voice will. Bombs away. That was all on target. And here's the scoring screen, and you go to scoring screen with the enter key, and when you are hit, when your plane is hit, you will lose points. And if you bomb your own country, England, you will lose a lot of points. And you get points for successfully bombing your the targets in your mission, and that will add to your score. So you basically just try to go back and forth between bombing targets, going back to take down enemy aircraft when the voices prompt you to. They'll say enemy at whatever o'clock, or bandits at whatever o'clock. And that's basically the whole goal of the game. And when you run low on fuel or bomb supply or ammo, then you go back to the pilot screen, or no, the map screen, and you move the cursor back to England where you started, and press the action button, and your plane will fly back that way. So we're going to have a look at how to land back in England. You move the cursor over to England, where you started from, and you press the top left or right action button. And when you finally approach England, when you get close, then what you want to do is, if you are at high altitude, set your pitch to fly in slow descent. You reduce your RPMs and keep your speed at 90 miles per hour. You might jettison fuel with the top action button to slow yourself down. And there I landed safely in England, and refueled and got more ammo and maybe bombs. And then you start everything over again. And if you go back to England and drop bombs on England, doesn't have to be on a target or anything, you will lose points. And you will hear the voice kind of scold you. See, you lose a lot of points that way. And if you are shot too much, the game will start saying Mayday, and you will start descending big time. And if you are unable to pull up enough and land back in England, then you will die and it will be game over. If you fail to take off properly or land properly, you will die and you will get a game over. And your score will be totaled up. Anytime you are shot at all, you will lose points. Again, if you bomb England, you will lose a lot of points. And you gain points by bombing the right targets. You can shoot enemy planes, but you get very low points. I think you get like 2 points for each enemy plane. And here is me crashing. be shot too much. Boom, and there's my score, and it's not very good at all. Oh well. Well, that was game number 19, B-17 Bomber for the Intellivoice, created in 1982. Well, this is Crazy Climber Eddie saying thanks for watching B-17 Bomber by Mattel and John P. Sohl, William C. Fisher, and Stephen Roney. Take care, everybody. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.